What's up, everybody? Welcome to CFP Talks. I am Joe Nissim, and with me, as always, wow, it's clearly the end of the day, is my man, Mr. David Fuchs.
What's
And
going on?
it never fails. I always say the good shit off of camera, and then we get on camera, and then I don't say it.
That's
But
on me. That's on me as the producer. I
yeah,
got to start
as,
saying like,
as
just
the
hit record.
as the executive producer, this is on you, buddy. But what we were chatting with before on camera is motivation. And this is something that comes up all the time that I'm dealing with students is how do you stay motivated for the entire time that you're studying for CFP? And I
Mhm.
think the long and short answer of it, as I was so eloquently saying before, is you don't. And I think that's the expectation that you need to set is that the reality of it is that at the beginning of your study plan, you're going to be motivated. And I always I call it, and I break this up into 25, 50, 25.
Yep.
Your first 25%. So let's just say you're studying for 4 months. That first month, you're excited. Like, I'm going to have these letters after my name. I'm so excited. This is going to be great. I can't wait. So everybody will admire me. I can't wait to see this CFP in my auto signature. I'm going to know so much stuff. I'm going to ask great
Yeah.
questions.
And it's you're learning quickly. Like one other thing that you said is you're learning quickly and you're learning a lot quickly and um you're very excited about that. To
Yeah.
add that.
And as you start seeing the first sets of questions, you're like, wow, like I'm going to know so much about so much stuff. And the last month is always motivating because you're like, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. But the truth of it is, and where the rubber meets the road, is those middle 2 months. Because
Mhm.
that honestly is hell. Because now the novelty has worn off. And at the end of it, you kind of get that second breath of life. But those middle 2 months is where every single one of my students, and you can kind of see it in class, everybody's like eyes are kind of they're looking like, oh, I don't really want to be here. I have other things to do, especially if we're studying like right now, we're getting ready for the July exam. It's warm out pretty much everywhere. The weather just broke in Southern California, so all the LA people are like, I want to be out. I want to be sitting on the beach. Every New Yorker wants to be on a rooftop somewhere. Like, so you're starting to really feel like the FOMO. You're starting to feel like, and then on top of it, life just gets busy. And initially, like, and especially like when you're starting, you kind of most people like at the beginning of that process are getting involved in the process in a less busy time. When it gets really busy is when it really heats up. And I think that the most important part of this is setting the table for knowing that this is exactly what's going to happen. And there's one workaround, and in my opinion, one workaround only. It's discipline. And this is where everybody makes the mistake. Your motivation will carry you for month one and month four. Your discipline is what's going to carry you for months 2 and 3. What everybody does is that if your studying is sloppy in the beginning and you're all over the place, months 2 and 3 are going to be hell. But if you set up a routine and a structure and a discipline for your studying, you're going to just start getting in the groove of things. It's like going to the gym. Sometimes I don't want to go to the gym, but I don't want to mess up my routine. Like last week on Thursday and Friday, there's two people that I work out with every day. And I was like, we were texting and we're like, oh, how'd you feel after yesterday's workout? And blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I just want to put on the record, I have no desire to go to the gym today. I'm tired. My body's achy. I got a terrible night of sleep. I didn't eat and all those things. And they're like, are you still gonna be here? I'm like, yeah, I don't want to mess up the routine because now I'm in a groove. And because I know how not going to the gym makes me feel, that I don't want to break it. So my discipline and the motive is carrying me because when I'm lifting really well and my body feels good, it's easy to go to the gym. It's very, very easy. But I'm not doing anything different. It's just sometimes it takes a little bit more mental energy and sometimes it doesn't. And I know you're a gym guy too, and you go in the morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel
Yep.
like I feel like going in the morning is the easiest thing to give up on. And I know you've been doing it since we've met, right? But I'm sure not every single morning is a morning that you want to get up, especially in January and February in New York, and get up and go to the gym.
Oh, hell no. Hell no. Most mornings I don't want to get up, to be honest with you. But I think about how it's beach weather coming up,
Oh yeah,
and it's we're coming into the summertime. So I'm like, get your ass up.
exactly, right? Exactly. And that's like honestly, that's it right there. It's
That's it right there. Think
like
about the end of like getting the passing grade. Like that's the motivation. Like you have to like, yeah, that's what's gonna push you.
yeah. And I think like most people are under the impression, and I see this at the gym, they're like, I'm just not motivated to go. I'm like, that's most of the time, man. Like you just do it anyway. Like
Yeah.
when I was studying for
But
CFA, I went through spurts where I'm like I would like walk around my apartment and rearrange shit in my apartment just to not study. And I was like, Joe, sit down and study because you want to take this a second time.
and just to point it out, I bet that was probably in the middle because like you said earlier, that's when people start to say, "Oh, I'm kind of sick of this," and I'm actually relating it to. I'll relate it to the gym. Everyone that just starts going to the gym or like decides to start, adding fitness into their daily routine, they're so into it at first.
Hmm,
They're at the gym every day. They're telling everybody about their workout and what they're eating and all this stuff. And you're so motivated and into it, and then when it starts becoming a little mundane and repetitive, that's when I think a lot of people drop off,
right.
or they just kind of decrease the amount of energy they put towards it. And that's a perfect analogy to, you just started studying, you're learning a new thing, you're excited to go on this journey, and then after a month or a month and a half, it's like, oh shit, like this is hard, I'm not as motivated anymore. It's getting kind of boring and I'm getting kind of sick of it. And it's the same exact thing.
I see it in a CrossFit gym all the time. Even when I was training and competing in weightlifting, my weightlifting coach would say it all the time. He'd say, there's more talent that's going to walk out of this gym than ever stays in. And
Hmm.
CFP is really no different. There's a lot of really smart people that will never pass the CFP exam because they're not willing to make that commitment and that sacrifice when it's boring. And that's it. Do you know what I mean? Like, but
Hmm.
anything that's worthwhile, whether it's your relationship, there's a lot of elements of it that are not glamorous. And I
Hmm.
think we get a little bit lost that we want something like a lot of people come to me like, okay, what's your system? Like, what's your catch? I really don't have one. We learn fundamentals, we drill, we do it all over again,
Yeah.
and we keep relearning the fundamentals all over again. And we try to master that. And then we learn how to apply concepts. I don't have magic beans to sell anybody. The difference is that we need discipline.
Yeah.
Discipline carries you through.
I also, one thing going back to, I know you said it earlier, but I do want to emphasize it, is setting the expectation
Yeah.
that this is going to happen.
Oh yeah,
And num the number one reason is, just so you're ready for it. And if you're ready for it, I think number one, it's not going to hit you as hard.
I agree.
And number two, you can pre-plan for ways to get around that or just subside it a little bit less than what it possibly could do to bring you down.
Yeah.
So I think telling, the people that are taking the exam or about to study for it, that, hey, this is typically how it's going to go. You're really motivated. Then you get, a little demotivated in the middle, and then it picks back up at the end. Like, I think that's super important. But I think that what's equally as important is letting them know that this is what the expectation is, and you just got to accept it.
Yeah. And you're not going to go like this during the process. The process is like this. It's U-shaped. It,
Mm,
from a motivation standpoint. And I think, when you really have to like, and I just think this is anything. Like when I first started lifting weights, I'm like, this is awesome. I'm gonna lift big weights and
right.
everybody's gonna like revere me and look how jacked I am. And then, you do it over and over again. You realize like, oh my God, I gotta spend time doing all these dumb exercises that take an hour every single day. And it's
Right.
not, it's just
Right.
not fun,
Right. It is at first. It's not once you go through it.
and you're
Once you're
not.
going through it.
Exactly. And you're not looking at, and then you get back on the platform and then you lift something big and you're like, wow, all that work was now worthwhile. Like
Hmm.
and I will say there's something special about it though. And I think setting the expectations important, but there's something so sweet about going through that month 2 and month 3 and then coming out of that room with that pass, because that means everything that you did in those months, nobody can take that away from you. And I think that's one thing that I like about the CFP exam, that it's not a college course that everybody passes. It's not a
Hmm.
group project. It's not an MBA. Like they say in the NBA, ball don't lie. The
Yeah,
CFP,
no,
lie.
you earn that shit. If
You
you
have to.
pass that test, yeah, if you pass that test, like respect, like you earned that shit.
That's right. And you went through something that all of us go through, and you came out of the other side. And I think that's what's
Mm,
special about it. So I think set the expectation and know that that's going to be the course. There's no way around it. I don't care. Like I used to be that person that'd be like, well, that's not going to happen to me. It happens to you. I think the
mm.
sooner that you accept it, the less it's going to hate you, which is, I really think that's spot on, David. It's like, if you just accept it, okay, take it, it's going to suck. And then it almost feels like it doesn't suck as bad.
Yeah,
That is the expectation.
right, exactly. And that's
So
all she wrote.
that's all she wrote, is right. So set those expectations and understand that, but there is something very special about that. As always, any questions, comments, and concerns, reach out to David or myself. Have a great evening.